live, interactive, family-friendly shows. Welcome to Family Fun Experience Theater. What can you expect? Well, game shows, family comedy, swashbuckling farces, holiday extravaganzas, birthday parties plus superheroes, sci-fi and musical specials. Expect something new and fun every week year-round. Relaxing, comfortable couch seating with views overlooking the Virginia Beach oceanfront with plenty of fun snacks and drinks to enjoy. FFX's unique brand of family-friendly fun has the whole audience playing along from kids and teens to grandma and gramps. No kids? No problem. Whatever your age, our middle name is FUN. So what are you waiting for? Head over to ffxshow.org and get your tickets right now.
We got Chonda Pierce here with us. What is going on? How are you doing?
I am so good. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Pastor Dan, you know, I tune in every now and then. You don't believe that, but I do.
Oh, you see, so you know I'm crazy then. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. yeah. That's good that you tune in. You got I tell people the crazy people get stuff done though. You know what I mean?
Isn't that the truth? You know, I just have a book coming out in the spring, and I tease everybody going, well, that'll be the end of my career, because when they read it, they'll go, man, you know, she really is kind of crazy.
yeah. Oh, let's see, you got the Celsius. Oh, you are one of us. Yes, Celsius. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Red Bull is for kids.
Red Bulls for kids. Oh, well, first of all, thank you for taking the interview with us. We really do appreciate you taking your precious time to do that.
That's quite all right. I appreciate you wanting to talk to me.
Well, so yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So when I said that we were doing the interview, I said, well, the first thing we have to do is talk about just the platform and freedom that comedians have to actually tell the truth, and people laugh at it.
The Smith's truth. I know. Can you believe it? You know, it's funny.
I'm so jealous of you guys. I'm so jealous of you guys.
I have, you know, when I show up at a church from time to time, a pastor will give me a list of what he'd like me to say, because he goes, you can say it and get by with it. I will get in trouble, you know. But it is true. I think the gift of what comedy can be, you know, I always say sarcasm. That's my superpower.
I believe
but there is a way of couching a story that becomes more palatable. But you know what's interesting? We're in a culture where even right now, political correctness is killing us, and they're censoring comics. And I always say, you know, if you start censoring comics, and I'm talking about, and believe me, there's some I'd like to wash their mouth out for them, you know, because they're just filthy. However, if you begin to censor them, you're going to take away a whole map and a blueprint of what's going on in culture.
Yeah.
So if you start watering it down, if you go and listen to some of your favorite old comics, you'll have a really good blueprint of what was happening in those days. You know, from Joan Rivers to Richard Pryor. Yes, they need a clean mouth, but you'll be able to see what's happening in culture and what they're, you know, jabbing at or what we're laughing about. No. So when you start taking, you know, some of their freedom away, you're gonna miss that blueprint. And at the same time, I wish all comics would be clean, but they don't know my Jesus.
Right. And people, you know, people are where they are.
Right.
Their gifts are what they are. So, you know,
right. That's exactly right.
One of those types of things. I tell people that God is in the people making business, and you know, and people do what they want with what He gave them. That doesn't mean change. Like, we don't want to eliminate music because there's filthy music.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And the reason why I brought this up is because it's as serious as the Word of God is, and as serious as life is.
Right.
You have this thing where it says that laughter is medicine for the soul.
Yeah.
How have you always taken that?
You know, I always chuckle at how many pastors will introduce me using that very verse. It's almost like they're trying to ask their audience.
Original, and I knew I wasn't.
No, they're trying to get permission from their congregation. That don't remember. Prophet says laughter doeth good like a medicine. But the truth of the matter is, I know it to be true in my personal life, so that I am able to dispense the medicine for an audience, which is the way the Lord intended, I believe, is for us to laugh. He has given us, and you're so right, Pastor, he's given us every emotion and using them all correctly. The Bible says be angry, but sin not. So it's okay to be righteous indignation and being angry about what's going on, or if you've been wronged, but it says sin not. So in other words, don't let that anger kill someone, you know what I mean, or cause you to sin. But the medicine of laughter is the same way, used correctly. The levity, it's a known fact that doctors will play funny comedy videos in the oncology room while their chemotherapy is being dispersed throughout their body.
Current FM has good news. The FCC has approved our application to triple our radio signal. We get to go up in power. We've been praying for this for so long, but we can't do this without your help. We are asking you to help fund this power increase, as we'll need to buy a bigger transmitter and antenna. The price for these items alone will be approximately $75,000. Can you help us reach the amount needed so we can quickly get the power increase up and going? You can easily donate securely online at currentfm.com. You can also send in a check to Current FM, 3500 Virginia Beach Boulevard, Suite 201, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23452. We are nonprofit and tax deductible. It's because of your prayers that we received favor from the FCC, and we can't thank you enough for those prayers and for your financial support through the years. Help Current FM in reaching more people and seeing more lives changed in the years ahead.
It's just a fact of your body and the way the Lord designed you that laughter does make the endorphins move and make that medicine move faster. And so it's the same way in what I do for a living. You pray that before the night's over, people will have a reprieve from what they brought in the room, and even more importantly, they will know that the gift came from God, and maybe they'll be open to just knowing who God is. Yeah.
I think it's such a it's funny. It's funny. It's such a serious thing. Laughter.
No, you're exactly right. Somebody asked me one time, are there subjects that is it okay to make light of anything? Is everything on the table when it comes to comedy? Personally, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of things. But what I do love about comedy is what it can highlight. You can take the sting away from racism by being funny. You can take the sting away from, the fall down drunk is not so funny until you can make it funny and highlight, let's don't go get drunk. Let's don't go get drunk.
Yeah. Check this out. So you made this one joke that just had me. You said, I'm not really a joke teller. I'm more of a storyteller.
Right.
And you said, what's the difference between a Baptist and Episcopal? And you said, Episcopal will greet you in the liquor store.
That's right. That's my favorite joke in the world. The difference
I laugh so hard because I'm
always cracking up because I think of, when I'm in a crowd and there's always a million denominations in there, and and you go through the list, and I'll say, any Episcopalians here? You already had your 2-drink minimum.
No, it's true. And I think it's not about making people feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I think it's more about inviting people to be who they are, to be able to say, hey, listen, God sees you. And we are don't take yourself so seriously.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that gets me in trouble a lot of times, that I don't take myself seriously. Like, dude, you're a professional. And I'm like, you said that, not me.
But Pastor, God made you like you are, and there's not another Duke White. There's not another of where you are. He put you exactly right where you I started saying Lieutenant Dan. He put Lieutenant Dan right where he's supposed to be.
Yep,
He put
yep.
So every single person is if you're guided by what God has for you in your life,
right.
Then that's the good thing,
Well,
and
I want to bring this up because when we talk about laughter being medicine for the soul, it really is about dealing with the difficulties of life and being able to take that, like you said, that reprieve. So there is this honesty that believers don't want to talk about sometimes, but life is hard.
It is hard.
Life is hard, and I had the opportunity of checking out your movie, your documentary, which was so touching, and it was so beautiful for you to share your journey, because you could have easily hid behind the deception that I grew up with myself, because I used to try to figure out, how are these comedians happy every day? How does nothing ever happen to them? Like, why does God love comedians more than everybody else?
Yeah.
And then they share their story.
And you find out. Yeah. Well, look at the comics we've lost. There's two parts to that, I believe, Pastor Duke. There's the part that says we can deflect our pain through comedy, and we use the comedy to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that works for a while, and people around you will chuckle. But when the chuckling is over, you're still left with that pain. Yeah. And so comedy becomes what they're hiding in. It's almost like their drug. But then what happens to, I think, a lot of secular comics, like, we lost Robin Williams. We've lost so many incredible minds. And it's because I think that euphoric feeling that they get, on it. And so that euphoric feeling that you get, they want to mimic that 24/7. And so they want to feel that way when they go home. And so the only option for them to feel that way is drugs or alcohol, or filling their life up with other things that's going to destroy them, because they're trying to mimic that good feeling.
Greetings, fellow business owners. I'd like to pose a question. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the pressures of meeting the digital demands and the time-consuming processes in our technologically advanced modern society? Don't lose hope. We're here to provide assistance. With decades of experience, our team has successfully achieved our clients' objectives, catering to various entities such as small businesses, international organizations, churches, artists, and more. At Bright Herd LLC, our commitment lies in aiding you to transforming your brilliant concept into reality. We tirelessly work to fulfill your requirements for mobile apps, game development, and digital web development, ensuring safety, security, user-friendliness, and most importantly, illuminating your bright message clearly. As a Bright Herd client, our ultimate goal is to see your success and satisfaction shining brightly.
And we still, if you study a lot of lives of comedians, many of them come from really broken, harsh, and difficult situations. And I think maybe is it because God found them a path that is so joyful, that gives them the reprieve from where they came to get there. It's just a great reprieve. You're right.
That's a good idea. Especially being that you're in the field. I know that there is, especially the one when you feel that connection of bringing joy and making people laugh and things like that. One that is a great distraction from whatever is going on in your own life.
Right.
I remember being that guy. I remember being the life of the party. But it was mainly because of the insecurity. You know what I mean?
Yes,
God forbid if there was silence, because we didn't, I got to say something.
Exactly. And I was a middle child, so we are give me some attention. Hello. Yeah.
So there was this I couldn't stand people that were comfortable with silence. It's like, what's wrong with you?
My therapist, she just loves that. I'm like, stop. Somebody say something.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that I think that this is, when I think about the image of the church, and it's like it's so weird because we're supposed to be this pillar of love and joy, and then most people's perspective of church is where you go right before you die. Like it's like that's where you bury people.
It's somber.
It's just somber. It's like
Pastor, I've been in churches where they're already dead. They're just sitting there.
They haven't figured it out yet. They're just breathing. Haven't figured it out yet. I get it. I get it. No, but so what do you say to that? But then of course you get to the extreme where the church becomes so much about entertainment that God's like, can I get on the bus? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think that it's probably a word I work hard in my own personal life, balance. There's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance. The sanctuary, I always feel honored when someone invites me into their sanctuary, into their house. And so you have to be respectful what goes on in the four walls of that particular church. I work a lot of theater buildings, so that's kind of nice because it's like mutual turf. But, as a preacher's kid, I grew up with great respect for the church and yet a great viewpoint of where we miss it. And it's okay to say we're failing in a lot of churches. Pastor, I remember when they first got divorce care.
Hi, I'm Robert Shepard. America has approximately 580,000 homeless people. My area of Virginia estimates 5,783 people living on the streets. A Google search can show the homeless number in your state. You can make a difference. Please send a message that God loves the homeless and has not forgotten them. Go to www.comingsoonjesus.org and click on Fundraising. Purchase the Coming Soon Jesus t-shirt or hoodie. The CSJ team delivers the shirts and hoodies to homeless shelters, churches, and even directly to the homeless. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can help the homeless. Please go to www.comingsoonjesus.org. Purchase a t-shirt or hoodie for the homeless today. God bless you as you bless the homeless.
And that was like in the early 80s. And we really thought we were doing something. Well, I always laughed and said, well, half the audience was already divorced. So they should have had that, but long before they. We're always behind. It makes me frustrated sometimes because the church is always a little bit behind in going after those hurting in particular cultures. And right now, our churches need Alcoholic Anonymous. I mean, our churches need, drug abuse issues. Our churches need to be dealing with the abortion issue and have some unwed mothers into your church. Let's talk about, let's step it up and really be what the church needs to be. And the best way you could present that idea instead of picket signs outside, maybe through humor, we can, open up the church's eyes a little bit and the congregation. I always say sometimes I get these young people that'll go, our church music just sucks and blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? They'll be dead soon. So have patience. They're dying. So you can take over. I mean, it's like, put it in perspective. Don't throw your hands. Don't wash your hands of the church. Just have patience and balance and have balance. But I'm like you, dude. I get so frustrated at the, I tell this story all the time that I went to a mega church for a long time. And there was a time when the curtain rises and the smoke machine starts and the praise band is rocking. And it's wonderful. And God deserves all that. But and I sat back in the big gulp chair with the little cup holder in the sanctuary. And for a minute, I go, what in the world are we doing? If Jesus was here, he'd probably be under a tree this morning, gathering a group, and just having a chat. You know what I mean? That instead of needing to look like the world. And at the same time, shame on us as a congregation that we want all that. We want to be.
Oh, yeah.
Our attention span's like a Cocker Spaniel puppy, you know.
That was really good. I just saw a church full of Cocker Spaniel puppies. I'm a visual person, so like while you're talking, I'm seeing the whole thing. I just saw the whole thing. Let me ask you this, because I know you were talking about the different cultures. One of the things that I think that we've got to be aware of is mental health issues. And then watching your video, watching your movie, I know you talked about your father's situation, and how how it had, like, there's a Bible in one hand and a gun on the other. Like, which ones? Like, growing up like that, you'd almost be like, what is there to laugh about? One, and two, like, realistically, where is God in those moments? And then I'm just saying, from a kid's perspective, it's like, where's God in those moments? What is there to laugh about? And how come no one in the church can see this? Where is the identifying that this is happening?
On my mother's behalf, in the late 60s and early 70s and later 70s, when all this was happening in our family, on her behalf, women back in those days, you stand by your man, for one thing. And so she kept us in that, and probably for too long. But also we stay in it to protect the church. You protect the church at all costs, even at the cost of the spiritual growth of your own children. And my brother and I, it's interesting, our childhood, our dysfunction manifests itself in two different ways. For me, it eventually manifests itself in Great Depression. In my brother, it manifests itself in great addiction. And so, and both of those things are very linked. I think it's interesting that he went the route when he got his life together, and he became a pastor. And though he had never dealt with the childhood issues, it finally manifested itself in addiction. And he blew his life wide open. He wrote a book called Failure and How I Achieved It, which I'm so jealous of the title. But it's so good. Yeah. But and then I got my life together, and I became a comedian, whatever. And then the childhood issues start surfacing, and it resulted in Great Depression for me. So your body, and I tell people this all the time, and this goes so true to mental health and the church, your body will protect itself at all costs.
Hi, my name is Darren Moore, and I am the owner and founder and instructor, of course, at Moore Cyber Ed. Moore Cyber Ed is a very unique cybersecurity training program. Are you looking for a job? Guess what? We provide job training for you. In just 18 weeks, we have 2 courses. One, Cyber Fundamentals, which helps you to learn all of the basics of cybersecurity. And then number 2, which is Security Plus Extended, which helps to prepare you to take the CompTIA Security Plus certification exam. Now, after you complete these 2 courses, and after you complete your certification exam, you are qualified to walk into a job. Now, it's that easy. Now, is there a lot of work in there? Yes, but guess what? You're worth it. Isn't it about time that you invest in yourself? Make sure you check out www.moorecybered and click on that free preview. It's a course designed exclusively for you in mind. Check it out. What do you have to lose? Your future. You can gain it and create your destiny.
And so the best thing you can do is cooperate. Your mind is going to allow that stuff to come out. It's either going to come out in overeating or addiction or behavioral patterns that you can't seem to break. Promiscuity, when you've been abused as a young child, it's going to come out with anger or anger issues. All of those things. It's because your body is trying to tell you something. Your mind needs to unwind and unload. And so incredible Christian counselors and pastors who want to sit down with you and pour that out. Because everything you drag out of the dark into the light has no more power over you.
Yeah, and I want to encourage pastors out there don't be intimidated by saying you need some help. You need some professional help.
Yes,
You,
absolutely.
you're not less of a man or a woman of God because you have to take medication.
And that's the saddest part of the story. In 1969, my father was given a prescription of lithium, which is supposed to stabilize your mood. My father was extremely bipolar, and of course, back then you didn't hardly know what bipolar was. It was called manic depressive. You know what I mean? But somebody in the church found out he was taking medicine and ran a petition around that if he continues to do that, they won't have any confidence in his preaching. And I used to tell that because my heart wasn't in the right place. I used to tell it hoping those women were still alive. And they could hear me, because that pill would have changed my life. It would have changed our whole family. But we went through such dysfunction. And the sad thing is, in the midst of this dysfunction, both my sisters died. One was killed in a car wreck and one died with leukemia. And so all that piled on, and I wished they would have lived long enough to seen a better healthy family. And that would have happened if our denomination or those group of people would have been more open to going, you know what, this organ is no different than any other organ in your body. And without it working well, nothing in your body is going to work well. So why aren't we medicating and taking care of it, or finding doctors that can work on this? We're always running after the medicine. Yeah.
What makes me scared about that is that God himself is like banging down heaven going, my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Like, hey man, we need to take he might be taking that seriously. If he's saying there's not, like, he's literally saying there's nothing I can even do if you're not willing to learn.
Right. You know, when I went to a psychiatric hospital because I wanted to jump off a cliff, one of the sweetest things, and I know God has just got us, sitting up there just waiting for me to cry out for help. And when I did, the PhD, the doctor who was there to help me prescribe medicine, was a born-again Christian who dedicated his life to finding solutions. You know, the guy who invented Prozac was the son of Christian missionaries. We forget God puts people and gives them knowledge, like you said. It's we who are not embracing that, or we become little mini gods and we want to tell people how God is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And that's what's the horrible disservice is God. I think God's got to, bless his heart, he be striking more people dead, so he must have a sense of humor. I said bless his heart, bless God's heart. Yeah,
God's heart. No, but you know what? I do actually think about that all the time, and the Bible does make it clear that he's full of grace, right?
Yes, praise the Lord.
But I don't think he doesn't lower his standard. What he does is he sends people like you to wake us up, he sends people like you to lead us, to bring awareness. Like you said, he sends people who are not going to be intimidated. You know what's funny? It's almost like when you can go through so much hell by yourself that it just frees you from this. Technically, it's like, I don't care what people think because I know
I'm kind of done with all that. I can't afford it. My brother has a great line. When someone's, if I start grieving one sister, it leads to grieving both, so he'll go, you can't sit in that. You can't sit in that too long. And so he used to teach me to set an egg timer. Now my brother's a PhD in psychology. So, but he'll set an egg timer and he'll go, you want to grieve your husband? That's perfectly normal. Now set an egg timer and you're going to give that thought just that little bit of time. Because if you linger there, you can't afford that. It will bring you down and bring you down. So like your anger, I'm frustrated. Set an egg timer, and you can just rant and rave and talk to God about it and be frustrated, but you can't stay there. So you can't afford to stay there.